Let's be brutally honest. Most men spend their entire lives trying to understand women, when the real power lies in understanding themselves. Because once a man truly grasps what I'm about to tell you, once he sees how female psychology actually works beneath the surface, every test, every withdrawal, every confusing emotional reaction suddenly makes perfect sense. And that's when women lose control. Not because you manipulate them, but because you no longer need their validation to feel like a man. You see, every woman, no matter how independent, confident, or self-assured she appears, has a subconscious radar that detects a man's emotional center. She can sense when he's grounded and when he's chasing her energy. The moment she feels you orbiting around her approval, her attraction quietly fades. Not because she's cruel, but because her instincts are wired to seek strength, not submission. And strength isn't loud, it's silent. It's the calm in a storm that tells her, I'm fine with or without you. The truth is, women are emotional barometers. They don't fall for what you say, they fall for what you feel like. When your presence radiates peace instead of panic, confidence instead of need, they instinctively surrender to it. That's the part no one tells you. That's the hidden code inside female psychology. The more centered you become, the more she's pulled toward you. But here's what society hides from you. Most modern men are trained to seek approval, to please, to prove, to perform. And in doing so, they give away the one thing that triggers respect and desire: emotional independence. Every good morning text you send, hoping for a reply, every moment you wait for her validation before feeling good about yourself, it's a tiny signal that you've forgotten who the prize really is. Now think about this. When a man pulls away to find himself, she panics. When he becomes unavailable, she starts to wonder what changed. Because in her biology, uncertainty equals attraction. Women chase the emotion of potential loss far more than the comfort of guaranteed safety. That's why men who are too available, too predictable, too eager to please, lose women without even realizing it. But let's go deeper. When you stop reacting to her moods, when you stop trying to fix her emotions or prove your worth, she's forced to confront her own behavior. Suddenly, her power games lose meaning. Her silence doesn't scare you anymore. And when a man stops being afraid to lose her, she starts being afraid to lose him. That's the shift. That's when the dynamic flips. You move from being the one trying to impress to being the one she respects, desires, and can't stop thinking about. Because for the first time, you've stepped out of emotional dependency and into emotional dominance. Understand this. Emotional dominance isn't control over her. It's control over yourself. It's not arrogance. It's grounded certainty. It's looking at a woman and saying, "You're free to go, but I won't chase you." And when you mean it, she feels it. That's when everything changes. Every man who truly wakes up to this truth becomes untouchable. Because the game women play isn't about words. It's about energy. And when your energy stops chasing, she starts investing. When your silence replaces your pleading, she begins to question herself. That's when you've mastered the one rule no one dares to tell you. Once a man understands female psychology, not to manipulate, but to lead himself, all women are finished trying to control him. Because now, he finally controls what she's been testing all along: his self-worth. Question for you. Have you ever noticed how a woman's attitude changes the moment you stop reacting? Tell me in the comments below. And if this opened your eyes, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with a brother who needs to hear it. Here's the truth no one ever tells men. Women don't fall in love with your kindness. They fall in love with your gravity. That silent pull you create when your life moves with direction, purpose, and emotional discipline. Because deep down, every woman wants to feel your strength, not the kind that tries to dominate her, but the kind that cannot be shaken by her. And when you understand that, everything about how you deal with women changes. You stop chasing attention. You stop explaining yourself. You stop walking on emotional eggshells trying to keep her happy. You realize that your peace of mind is not a bargaining chip, it's your throne. And the man who guards his peace becomes the man every woman secretly wants, even if she never admits it. You see, women are not attracted to what's easy. They're attracted to what feels real. And reality isn't always gentle. It's the quiet confidence of a man who doesn't need validation, who isn't afraid of walking away when his boundaries are crossed. Most men don't realize this, but women constantly test you, not to destroy you, but to find you, to see if the man standing in front of her is emotionally solid or made of sand. Because when she senses you're fragile, her instincts lose respect. But when she senses you're immovable, her emotions submit naturally. And here's the paradox. She'll never tell you this. She'll never say, "I respect you more when you stop chasing me." Instead, she'll act out, withdraw, or challenge your certainty. That's her subconscious way of asking, "Are you strong enough to lead without losing yourself?" If you fail that test, she won't scream. She'll just drift. And one day, you'll wake up wondering how someone who once adored you became cold and distant. But if you pass the test, if you remain calm while she's emotional, grounded while she's unpredictable, something powerful happens. She begins to trust your energy. Trust, not in your words, but in your consistency. Because while most men are reacting, you're observing. While others beg for love, you quietly embody it. And that's the moment you become unforgettable. The difference between men who get respected and men who get used is simple: boundaries. A man without boundaries gets drained. A man with them becomes magnetic. Because women don't just follow what they desire, they follow what they respect. And respect is built through contrast. She can't respect you if she can control you. She can't value you if she always knows you'll stay no matter what. Here's what you must understand. Women don't want perfection, they want direction. They want to feel that the man they're with won't crumble under pressure, won't apologize for his standards, won't negotiate his values just to keep her happy. That's the kind of man who activates a woman's feminine instinct, because his presence creates safety through strength. And if you've ever wondered why some men never struggle with women, it's not because they're better looking or richer, it's because they mastered the art of detachment. They can care deeply, but they never cling. They can love fully, but they never lose themselves. That balance between affection and independence is what drives women insane, because she realizes she can't control him, yet she craves his presence even more. Understand this: emotional detachment isn't coldness, it's power. It's loving from a place of abundance, not fear. It's saying, "I choose you," instead of "I need you." It's walking into every relationship knowing that your worth was never up for negotiation. And when a man finally lives that way, when his peace becomes non-negotiable, women stop trying to test him. They start trying to keep him, because that's when she realizes he doesn't chase love anymore. Love chases him. Tell me in the comments, what's harder for you, setting boundaries or walking away when you know you should? Drop your answer below, hit like if this spoke to you, subscribe for more truth, and share this with a man who needs to wake up today. Let's get real. Most men never realize how much power they hand over just by trying to be understood. You see, women don't need to understand you to respect you. They need to feel that you understand yourself. That's the difference between being attractive and being forgettable. Because when you know who you are, you stop chasing emotional clarity from people who thrive on confusion. The truth is, women are emotional creatures. They live in a world of shifting feelings, and that's not a flaw. It's their nature. But the masculine mistake is trying to find logic inside that emotional storm. You can't reason your way into emotional security with a woman. You can only embody it. The more you argue, the more you explain, the more you plead for her to see your side, the weaker you look. Why? Because from her instincts, the moment you need to be understood, you've already lost your grounding. A high-value man doesn't demand emotional stability from her. He creates it through his presence. When she's angry, he stays calm. When she's distant, he doesn't chase. When she's unpredictable, he doesn't mirror her chaos. He stands still, like a mountain in her storm. And slowly, without words, she recalibrates to his energy. That's when she realizes, this man is different. He doesn't beg for love. He commands respect through peace. Every woman has an emotional mirror. She reflects back the energy you project. If you give her anxiety, she'll amplify it. If you bring calm, she'll soften. But if you show desperation, she'll run. That's the paradox men struggle to accept. Your energy teaches her how to treat you. And the moment you understand that, you stop trying to win her and start mastering yourself. Think about how many times you've texted her too soon, apologized for things you didn't do, or over-explained just to fix her silence. You weren't doing it out of weakness. You were doing it because you cared. But caring without control turns love into dependency. And dependency always kills attraction. Women subconsciously test your emotional limits because they're searching for something rare, a man who doesn't break. When you pass her tests, she doesn't see arrogance. She feels safety. Because to her, a man who stays calm when she's emotional communicates something primal. You can trust me. That's not manipulation. That's leadership. But let me tell you a harsh truth. If you constantly react to her emotions, she'll never trust your strength because your reactions reveal your insecurity. Every time you try to convince her you're worthy, you teach her that you don't believe it yourself. Confidence isn't spoken, it's felt. It's the quiet conviction that says, I don't need to prove my value to anyone. And here's where most men lose their edge. They confuse attention with affection. A woman's attention might make you feel wanted, but it doesn't mean she respects you. Respect is earned when you hold your ground in silence, when she pulls back and you don't chase, when she tests you and you smile, when she doubts you and you keep building your life instead of proving your worth. That's when she sees something most men never show her, emotional maturity. It's what separates men who get ghosted from men who get pursued. It's what turns attraction into obsession. Because when she realizes you're not like the others, when your peace can't be shaken, her emotions start to betray her. She starts thinking about you when you're not around, wondering why she can't stop. That's not game. That's biology. The man who learns to control himself becomes the man women can't control. And that's the truth most men aren't ready to face. Once you master your emotions, every test, every argument, every moment of female confusion loses its power over you. Because now, you've become what she's been looking for all along, a man who leads through silence, strength, and self-respect. Tell me this, when a woman pulls away, do you chase or stay silent? Drop your answer in the comments. Hit like if this message hit home, subscribe for more truth, and share this with a man who needs to remember his power. There comes a point in every man's life when he has to decide what kind of energy he's going to live from, fear or freedom. Because the truth is, every weak decision a man makes comes from fear. Fear of losing her, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough. And as long as fear drives you, women will sense it. They'll never say it out loud, but they can smell insecurity like smoke in the air. It's the silent killer of attraction. You see, women aren't drawn to men who need them. They're drawn to men who have options. And I don't just mean other women. I mean options in life, direction, ambition, purpose. A man whose world is full will never beg for a woman to stay. Because his happiness doesn't live inside her. It lives inside his mission. That's the kind of energy that pulls women in and keeps them hooked. When a woman meets a man who's driven, calm, and focused, something inside her shifts. She can't quite explain it. It's not about his looks, or his money, or his words. It's his presence. That silent confidence that says, I'm not here to be chosen. I'm here to see if you can keep up. And that's the moment the entire dynamic flips. Women have an instinct. They test to see if your ambition is real or if it's just talk. If she senses you're easily distracted by her attention, she'll play with it. If she senses you drop everything the moment she calls, she'll lose respect. But when she realizes you're not waiting around, that your focus remains locked on your goals, she starts to chase. Not for control, but for connection with a man who can't be consumed by her. You have to understand something about female psychology. Attraction isn't born in comfort. It's born in tension. When she's slightly uncertain, when she feels that edge of unpredictability, her emotions come alive. But when she knows exactly where she stands all the time, she gets bored, Not because she wants drama, but because emotional challenge triggers her desire. And that's why emotional detachment from a man feels intoxicating to a woman. It forces her to earn his presence. That's why silence is powerful. That's why boundaries are magnetic. When you stop over-explaining, when you stop seeking reassurance, she starts feeling your absence as deeply as she once ignored your presence. And that's when you win, not through games, but through discipline. Here's the truth most men never want to hear. You don't lose women because you're not good enough. You lose them because you forget your mission. You start revolving around her instead of evolving beyond her. You stop being the man she fell for, the man who had mystery, drive, and independence, and you turn into the man who waits for permission to feel valuable again. And the moment that happens, she checks out emotionally. So what's the antidote? Purpose, direction, self-respect. Every time you choose your peace over her approval, your value multiplies. Every time you walk away from disrespect instead of arguing for validation, your worth becomes undeniable. Because a man who knows he can walk away doesn't have to. His presence alone commands respect. And here's the most ironic part. When you stop chasing her, she starts chasing your energy. When you stop trying to be her world, she starts trying to fit into yours. Because now she feels what every woman truly craves, a man she can't control, but desperately wants to keep. This is the silent art of power most men never master. It's not about dominance or ego, it's about self-command. It's the kind of energy that makes a woman's heart race. Not because you're dangerous, but because you're rare. And rare men always change the dynamic. Question for you. Do you think a man's purpose should come before love or after it? Drop your answer in the comments below. If this message lit something inside you, hit like, subscribe for more raw truths, and share this video with a man who needs to remember who he is. There's a moment every man faces when the mask finally drops, when he's tired of chasing, tired of explaining, tired of proving himself to people who never really saw him. And in that moment of exhaustion, something sacred is born: clarity. That's when a man realizes the greatest power he'll ever have isn't how much he can attract, it's how much he can walk away from without losing himself. Because once a man sees the game for what it is, everything changes. He stops trying to impress women and starts impressing his future self. He stops asking, "What does she want from me?" and starts asking, "What do I demand from my own life?" That's when he becomes untouchable, because no woman can control a man who's no longer afraid of being alone. You see, every test she throws at you, every moment she pulls away, every time she gets cold, every silent treatment isn't about her power. It's about your reaction. She's subconsciously asking one thing: are you still grounded when I'm gone? And when you are, when you don't chase, don't panic, don't fold, she feels something she rarely feels around men anymore: respect. Because in a world full of emotional chaos, your stillness becomes magnetic. And that's the secret. When a man controls his energy, he controls the outcome. Because women respond to emotional leadership. Not control, not arrogance, but that calm, masculine certainty that says, "I know who I am with or without you." That's the line that separates boys from men. Most men think love means constant reassurance, constant giving, constant sacrifice. But real love, mature love, is rooted in choice, not desperation. It's saying, "I'm here because I want to be, not because I'm afraid to lose you." And ironically, that's when women love you most. When they realize you're with them because you choose to be, not because you need them to complete you. Think about that for a second. Every man who's ever lost himself in a woman knows the pain of becoming invisible in her eyes. But that pain, it's your greatest teacher. It's the fire that burns away weakness, neediness, and illusion. Because when you rise from that heartbreak and rebuild yourself stronger, quieter, wiser, you become something few men ever reach: a man who no longer seeks validation because he embodies it. And here's what's beautiful. Once you reach that level of awareness, you stop resenting women. You understand their psychology without judgment. You realize they're not your enemy. They're simply responding to your energy. When you lead with strength, peace, and certainty, they naturally follow. But when you lead with fear, confusion, and self-doubt, they pull away. The difference between men who suffer and men who ascend is simple: awareness. Once you know the truth, you can't unsee it. Once you see the pattern, you can't fall for it again. And that's why I said, once men know this, all women are finished, not because they lose, but because the manipulation, the confusion, the emotional games, they stop working. You become immune. And when you reach that point, something incredible happens. You stop craving her approval, and she starts craving your energy. You stop chasing love, and love starts chasing you, because now you're living from the deepest masculine truth. Peace is power, presence is attraction, and self-respect is the ultimate game changer. So let this sink in. If she walks away, let her. If she tests you, stay calm. If she doubts you, stay focused. Because the real victory isn't keeping her, it's keeping yourself. The moment you realize that is the moment you become the man she can't forget and the world can't ignore. Question for you: what's one lesson heartbreak taught you that made you stronger? Drop it in the comments below. If this message hit your core, hit like, subscribe, and share this with a brother who needs to remember his worth. Because once a man learns to master himself, no woman, no heartbreak, no silence can ever break him again.